Today we are going to read the book called Delilah D. at the Library. My name is Queen Delilah D. I come from a land far, far away, but my mother likes to keep it a secret. She's always saying, "But Delilah, darling, you were born here." And no, Delilah, you cannot wear a crown to school. You are not a queen. But that's just nonsense. If you don't believe me, ask my brother, Small Boy. But you won't understand the answer because Small Boy speaks only a faraway language. And don't ask Daddy because he's busy. This is Gigi, my new sitter. She is supposed to look after me and Small Boy until Mother comes home. She comes from a different faraway land called France. Gigi says, "Come, Delilah, my little cabbage, let us go to the library." Oh, good. I love looking at books and smelling them and shutting them like this. Snap! When I get to the end. The library is full of extremely interesting books. Some have pictures, some have words, and this one has a squashed baked bean on page 5. But do you know, things are different in my faraway land. Where I come from, they always give you free cupcakes at the library. Small Boy is hungry, so I asked Gigi, "When will they bring the cupcakes?" And she says, "What is a cupcake? I'm not understanding. Ask that Library Ann." So me and Small Boy go and ask Library Ann, but she says, "No food in here, please." And I say, "Really?" Where I come from, everyone eats in the library. A man walks around with a big tray and shouts, "Who wants cupcakes? Who wants donuts?" "Shh," says Library Ann. But everybody says, "Oh, are there cupcakes? Are they free? We want donuts." Now that, says Library Ann, is why we don't shout in the library. I don't know where you come from, young lady, but we have different rules in this library. I tell her I come from a land far, far away. "Well, run along and find a nice book about it," she says. So I run along, but Library Ann calls, "No running in the library, please," which is odd, because where I come from, everyone runs in the library. Anyway, I try to find a book about the land where I come from, but I can't. Anyone would think there's no such space. Then Small Boy says, in a faraway language, "Try it there." So I start to climb, but Library Ann says, "My goodness, come down. That is not how we fetch books." I say, "Oh, I'm sorry, but I couldn't find the trapeze." Where I come from, there's a trapeze to reach the 2 high books. "Hey, I like that trapeze idea," says Mrs. Woolly Hat. "I'm short. I never get to read the 2 high books." Library Ann says there are much more sensible ways of reaching books. "I will help you find the book properly. Now," she says, "tell me the name of the land where you come from." But I can't, because it's very hard to say. Small Boy tells her in a faraway language, but she doesn't understand. So I explain that we come from a tiny little island between Jafrica and Smindia. But Library Ann has never heard of those places. Library Ann opens a big book and says, "Here is a map of the world. Can you point to where you come from?" Would you believe it? The person who drew the map forgot to put it on there. So I give Library Ann a map I made to show her what the world is really like. Here it is, a map of the land where I come from. You can't read its name because it's under my drawing of a Jafrican smellephant, which is kind of like a Smindian elephant, only it's smellier. Where I come from, We have our own animals, our own rules, our own everything. We even have our own song called Delilah D. Hooray for Queen Delilah. I'd love to hear it, says Mrs. Woolly Hat. So I stand on a chair and sing it. Mrs. Woolly Hat joins in. It goes like this. Hooray for Queen Delilah, so beautiful, so brave. Hooray for Queen Delilah, the kingdom she will save. Oh shout hooray, shout out loud and strong. Hooray for Queen Delilah D, who wrote this lovely song. Tra-la! Library Ann says, I wish I lived in a far, far away. Please stop singing. Then she says, would you like to borrow a book before you leave? Where I come from, we don't borrow books and leave. We all bring our blankets and toys, and a beautiful princess reads to us until we fall asleep. Cupcakes, blankets, toys, that's how to run a library, everyone says. There are days, says Library Ann, when I wish I was an astronaut. Delilah, darling, says Gigi, I think it's time to say au revoir. Where she comes from, that means goodbye. We go home and I tell my mother about the library. It was extremely fun, and I borrowed a lovely book called Tropical Diseases. But it was nothing like the library in the land where I come from. But Delilah, darling, she said, you come from here. We all do. We don't, though. She's just pretending, silly old thing. Oh, Mommy, I sigh. Sometimes I think you're living in a world all of your own. Yes, I know I'm holding my book upside down, but where I come from, that's how everybody reads. The end.